Yesterday was a bad day. It was one thing after the other. Everything was too loud, too bright, and too much. As an autistic person, sensory overwhelm can hit out of nowhere and it will affect every part of your day. In this video, I want to walk you through what a particularly bad day looked like for me as an autistic person. Hello there, I'm Autistic Brit. I was diagnosed as autistic at the age of 37. I'm still learning what autism means for me, and I make content about my journey. My day started in a very bad way. I live in a city and I was disturbed all night by just car noise, people screaming, just general city noise. So I didn't sleep well, I was low on energy, I had a headache. As soon as I woke up, there were many warning signs that this was going to be a difficult day. Having disturbed sleep can be incredibly difficult for anyone, even neurotypical people. I've heard them say, if I don't get sleep, I cannot function, my day is terrible. So straight away I had a headache, I was tired, I didn't sleep well, I was irritable, and my mood was very bad from the instant I woke up. So here is the build-up. I started my day as usual. I started my morning routine. I had a shower, I brushed my teeth, I did all of the usual things that I do. I went to make breakfast, and one of my safe foods is cereal. I made breakfast as I usually do, poured the milk, sat down, took one bite, and the milk was expired. And by expired, I mean like very expired. So that was a horrible taste and sensory experience that I had to deal with straight away. So I had to get rid of all of the cereal and I had to look for something else for breakfast, and I didn't really have anything in the house. So I ended up just having plain toast, which I don't even really like. I don't even really like bread that much, but I have it just in case I have nothing else to eat. So my morning routine was thrown off and I had breakfast that I didn't particularly like and I didn't want. So that was also a source of stress for the rest of my day. I think this will be helpful because this really is a good example of a bad day for me as an autistic person. It was such a stupid day. It really was just one thing after the other for the whole day. And then I went to wash some of my clothes. I put my clothes in the washing machine, I put it on the setting as I usually do, and about 5 minutes in it starts beeping, and then I go to check the washing machine and there are error codes everywhere and it's flashing and I have no idea what's wrong with it. And then the door wouldn't open on the washing machine. It didn't matter if I turned it on or off. So I left it on for hours in the hope that it would eventually unlock, which it did, and it took about 5 hours for the door to unlock. And then I just had unwashed wet clothes that I had to deal with. I had to do something with them. So the washing machine also broke, and then I was left with unwashed, soaked clothes, and I had no clue what to do with them. I then had a phone call, which was a professional phone call that I had to have with someone, and they were so rude. I've never dealt with this person before. They were very rude, completely invalidating, and they just spoke down to me. They were really condescending, and it was just as soon as they started speaking, I was just like, I'm not going to like this person. And I don't like phone calls anyway. Phone calls are very stressful. I can't hear them. It's crackly. I don't know when I'm supposed to speak. And this person was not only rude, but they were just mumbling. They were mumbling, and it sounded like they were underwater almost. I just couldn't understand this person for most of the time. So it was honestly just one of the worst phone calls of my life. If I couldn't understand them, I was just being treated like utter crap. They were just so unbelievably rude. And this was the breaking point for my day. I just really had a shutdown after this phone call. Well, I didn't have to speak anyway, which is lucky, but I just was very non-verbal. I couldn't really take in any more input, any more information. I had a meltdown. I had to shut down. I couldn't deal with any more input in this really stupid day. So I tried to just lay down and perhaps have a bit of a nap, which is really difficult to do when you're in that sort of situation because your mind is going wild, your body feels like it's on fire, there's so much adrenaline. It's very difficult to calm down. And then, here's the next thing. As I go to relax and I try to calm down and have a moment to myself, the people upstairs just start drilling into the floor with like a power drill or a power saw or something. And it was so loud, it sounded like it was right next to my ear. I'm pretty sure I just said out loud, "Are you for real?" Coping in the moment is very difficult. I can use things like headphones, which only help a certain amount if there's drilling going on. Stimming also helps, but it can only help so much, especially for someone like me, because I'm so sensitive in terms of sound. I'm very sound sensitive. There's only so much stimming I can do if there's just constant noise happening. And the other thing is to escape, which sadly I couldn't really do. My escape was to try to go into my bedroom to rest, and then I couldn't do that because they were having some sort of DIY show upstairs. And if I escape out of the house, that's even worse. That isn't somewhere to relax. That's so much more sensory overwhelm and noise and chaos. So I just had to sit in here with my headphones on noise cancelling, and I had to put on some comfortable clothes, and I was just stimming and rocking like crazy. I must have looked very distressed to anyone looking in. And sadly, there's just only so much you can do to manage. There's only so much you can do to cope. If the sound in the world and the chaos is going to just continue to bombard you, if you don't have an escape, there isn't anything you can do. You just have to try and get through it. The aftermath of this was I was just exhausted for the entire day. It ruined my whole day. I couldn't function. I was very tired, but I couldn't sleep because my brain was just going at 100 miles an hour. You do also get a sense of relief, even though my relief didn't come until much later in the day because it was just constant. It was one thing after the other. I also get this sort of sensory hangover effect that lingers afterwards. It's like any little noise is like nails on a chalkboard. Oh, I hate saying that phrase. Why did I say that phrase? Any light that just goes past my eyes and is too bright can just set off a migraine. You're just super sensitive for a long time. And I'm still not really over it. I still feel really rough today, and it's been like more than 24 hours. So in reflection, I just wanted to give an example of a particularly bad day for me as an autistic person. I just want to reassure people that having this sort of experience is totally okay. It's part of autistic life. Sadly, it happens. You can't always manage everything that's coming your way. Taking as many accommodations as you can still really help. I found that it can be especially helpful for the aftermath. The sensory hangover afterwards won't be quite so bad. It's not easy, but sadly it's part of life as an autistic person. If you've ever had days like this, I just want you to know that you really aren't alone and it's completely okay and understandable. Thank you so much for watching. If you're autistic, late diagnosed, or just curious, please consider subscribing for more videos about being a late diagnosed autistic adult. Muchas gracias. Bye bye.